catching up with chat. I really thought that the Dong would perform better. I mean, he did perform well. Like, he went to the ace match. Like, he did well for himself. Didn't take down Classic, but Classic is literally top 2 Protoss in Korea. I would say Hero and Classic being the top 2 and Creator just underneath them. So yeah, falling to Classic, it's nothing to be ashamed of. And we've even seen Classic take down players like this here in the top left. Spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Z Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss, the blue Protoss representing Twisted Minds. Just took down DRG, looking for his next Zerg victim. It is Classic. We go. But yeah, we've seen Classic take down Solar, we've seen him take down DRG, Dark as well. They do go back and forth. For those that are curious, historically, Dark is favored. I think it's like 60-40 in favor of Dark, but Classic has beaten him before, so it's not out of the realm of possibility for Classic to do it once again. Coming into this, Dark is going to be the slight favored player, but we'll see. We'll see how this does unfold. But I only bring this up just to emphasize that, again, DRG going to the ace match against Classic and falling there, again, there's nothing to be ashamed of there. It was still an impressive performance, and yeah, still some really good games, really good matches in that first series. Here we go for now. Dark just getting into his hatch gas pool. Standard opener out of our Zerg player. Important to point out because, as I mentioned before, Dark, he is usually one to be hyper aggressive, and it is not unheard of for Dark to go into, you know, a gas first or even a pool first in this matchup, even a 12 pool. He's done it before, he'll do it again. So Dark can be a very unpredictable player. A shout out to Jadolf in the chat letting us know that apparently Chicken Man is in the TVT. Oh, do love to see it. There you go. So again, if you want to tune into some of these other matches, you know, multi-twist it up, you know, open up a couple of tabs. You can have all the StarCraft coming at you at the same time. All 3 of us. Ah. Take us all. So for now, Classic is going to be getting the hell out of there. Just getting confirmation, getting a scout up. Making sure that droning is occurring and that we're not going for any kind of weird hidden tech. We're not staying in gas. Everything is looking normal. Likewise, Classic going for a Stargate opener back at home. We go. As Classic is being as annoying as possible, delaying that third base, but Dark, he is wise to this. He takes the linear third instead. He will not be delayed. He will not be slowed down. So quick moves out of Dark. Does take his third without being disturbed too much. Adept arrives, and Classic is looking for some economic damage. Queens are getting in position. We have another wave of links on the way, but we do commit to the shade. We get into the natural waste and up. Ooh, we don't quite get one. Barely both drones do survive. Oh my god, it looks like one worker will go down just barely at the end. It's an okay pickoff, but one drone for one adept, not the best trade here at a Classic, and this is what I was waiting for. It is a Stargate opener, but we're going into a Void Ray. Now, if you remember, I was sounding crazy. At the start of the last series, I was like, yeah, Classic, he loves going for his Void Ray openers. He goes for them all the time, and he didn't go for a Void Ray opener at all against DRG. I was looking like a lunatic. I was like, what is Light talking about? This is like, he likes it, Bobby. Trust me, he likes it. So, again, this is why I was talking about and emphasizing how Classic is typically an aggressive player, and we didn't really see that until the end against DRG. We're seeing that here against Dark, because it's a Void Ray first, we shut down the Overlord, we delay the third, and we go straight into a Twilight Council and a Gateway Explosion. Twilight Council's on the way. We have 3 gates, 4 gates in total. This is screaming like Glaive Adepts. But to reiterate, we have seen Hero go for these 2-base Blink Stalker all-ins, where he rushes into Blink instead. This should be Glaives, and yeah, there we go. Glaives is on the way. Nowadays, I have to, like, whenever I'm like, it can only be Glaives, I have to be like, well, technically, Hero does other stuff sometimes. I have to, like, temper my expectations a little bit. As the Lings have arrived, they dive on the third base. They're getting some damage done. They force a cancel. Very nicely done here by Duck. I'm also sure he's aware that this base is late. I'm sure he's aware that the third base has been delayed. What do we have to defend? Oh, we are rushing into a lair. I don't see a Roach Warren yet, which is concerning. We're reaching the 5-minute mark. We should be seeing a Roach Warren soon. Without it, defending with purely Lings and Queens is going to be a difficult thing to do. Lair is finishing. This is looking like Ling Hydra. Uh-oh. Here we go. Lings once again. They arrive at this third base. Meanwhile, Adepts are banking up back at home. They've yet to be revealed. We haven't shown them off yet. We get a surround. One Adept is going to go down. We're going to try and get the second, and we're going to be trying to force Classic's hand, but he refuses to show the rest of his units. The Adept is going to fall, and we're going to force another cancel. Ay, ay, ay. Classic just cannot expand, but he's essentially being forced into an all-in, and here it comes. And Dark is going Ling Hydra. That's why there was no Roach Warren. That's why he was waiting for the lair to finish up. Ling Hydra's on the way, and he's in some trouble. He is in trouble, and here we go. The Glaive Adepts, they have arrived. They commit to the shade. The Lings engage, but Ling's going to be going down. The boys, they have to be evacuated. So he busts into the middle line. Drones aren't going down. 4 dead workers. We get into the main as well. We don't quite kill any workers here, but we do deny mining time. Behind this, we're still trying to expand, still trying to work on that third. So far, 7 worker kills. At the same time, Adepts do rock up at the third. Can we get the spawning pool? I'm a little bit concerned here that we're going to be focusing on the spawning pool, but we have transfuse. Do keep it alive, but we find even more drones. Oh my god, the boys are pulled. Not like this. We're trying to drone drill our heart out. 10 worker kills. 15. Oh my god, things escalated very quickly as Adepts rock up here on the right hand side, and this is game-ending damage. This is just far too much. Dark barely has an economy. Trying to defend against Glaive Adepts with only Ling Queen, especially with Hydras on the way, very difficult thing to do. Almost impossible. And yeah, Dark has him pulled apart. GG gets called. Classic will take game number 1. Ooh, GG. Classic punishing the greed of Dark. As Dark, he was just rushing into Lings and Hydra, skipping the Bailey Nest, skipping the Roach Warren, skipping anything that would have kept him safe, because he was convinced that it was a standard opener. He was convinced that it was going to be Blink Stalkers, not Glaive Adepts. And Dark was caught with his pants down. The pants, they were down, they were off, they were nowhere to be seen. Caught exposed, and yeah, in the end, Classic did snowball out of control. GG. Again, for those curious, as to why Dark was going Ling Hydra is a solid composition, and it's amazing specifically against Stalker-based openers. Against Blink Stalkers, Ling Hydra does beautifully. You can transition into Lurkers from there, into Hydra, or to a much faster transition to Hydra Lurker Viper if the game goes on longer. But the downside is you take a risk if your opponent happens to be going for something different, whether it's charge or glaives. In this case, you know, it was almost a hard counter. I don't know if Classic assumed that Dark would skip the Roach Warren. As we saw, Classic, he wasn't really intending the game to end then and there. He was trying to expand. He was trying to work towards a forge and a follow-up. He was pleasantly surprised that he ran into an army that didn't have roaches. And with that, we're getting into game 2, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Site Delta, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Dragon Kai Z Gaming. Down in this series, looking to fight back. It is Dark. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss, the blue Protoss, representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. And I expect another Void Ray opener. To wind it back, a big reason as to why Dark didn't know what was happening. One, he wasn't trying to link scout the natural, unfortunately, but the Void Ray did shut down the Overlords. And I expect another Void Ray opener. Classic, he's really good at going for a Stargate opener into Void Ray and having a variety of different follow-ups here, continuing to keep his opponent guessing. He could go Void Ray into a standard third base, into Blink Stalkers. He could go into Glaive Adepts, could go into a Charge All-In, could go into Sky Toss. Dark is going to be in the dark if we have a similar opener, and it's going to be on Dark to try to get a read on what's happening and hopefully not cut too many corners. here we go. A Death Pinnacle Spirit. I mean, again, a big reason for the success of Classic in that last game was Dark cutting corners, was him taking a risk. It is always risky if you decide to rush into Hydras like that. So Dark, he rolled the dice and alas, did not go his way. Times it happens. It does happen. See in the chat, Ryung beat Beyond. I feel so validated. If you remember, if you were here when we were going over the bracket, I did mention as well that that TVT was going to be really close, specifically because even though Beyond is a stronger, well-rounded player, Ryung does have as good, if not better, TVT. Like, Ryung's best matchup is TVT, so not surprising at all to see Ryung take down Beyond. I'm happy to hear that. The Tuna Terran popping off. Let's go. It's a bit of a shame. Like, I know, like, I'm a Beyond fan as well, but I'm a bigger Ryung fan. Not gonna lie. Aye. And if Ryung goes up against Cure next, Ryung, he can go for a deep run today. If he has to rely on only his TVT, if he goes up against Cure and then Gumiho in the semifinals, Ryung, he could even go all the way to the finals. Like, that is not crazy. Assuming that Gumiho beats Hero. Assuming that happens. We'll see. And so then, it's going to be a Stargate opener out of Classic. We'll see if he goes Void Ray or Oracle first. And there it is. There's that Void Ray. So, again, I expect Classic to go Void Ray every game in this series, and it's a good way to play out the series. The reason for it is Classic, he's already leading 1-0, and his Dark, he's going to be second-guessing himself. He's going to be like, is it Glaives again? You know, is it going to be Glaive and Eps? Dark, he's going to open up safely as a result. He's not going to take as many chances, as many risks. And Classic, he can play standard from here. He doesn't have to double down. He doesn't have to be aggressive. He does not have to do anything out of the norm. So the Void Ray has arrived, once again focusing on shutting down these Overlords. Dark moving out with his Lings, trying to get a read on what's going on. So far, Dark, he's just, fanning out his Lings, looking for the third base, hoping to delay it for as long as he can. Meanwhile, we've yet to really choose our tech here for Classic. He's moving out with his Oracle. I expect this to be a third base into a Twilight Council, but we don't have another Oracle on the way. We're rushing into Skytoss. Let's go. This is something that Classic is very fond of. We've seen Classic defeat Dark in the past before, but I'm curious what he does decide to create, actually. The Oracle gets across the map. 2 worker kills, not too bad. So, Classic has been very fond of going for a Fleet Beacon into a Tempest Rush. Rushing into Tempest, getting damage done, and going for a Ground Toss transition afterwards into Blink Stalkers, only relying on 4 Tempests. But, if you were here last week when we casted Classic in KSL, I want to say, Classic didn't go Tempest, he went Carrier instead, which was very interesting. It was on Alkione. He rushed into 4 carriers, then Ground Toss, but kind of the same kind of outlook here. There it is. It's going to be Tempest. So he should be going up to 4, maybe 6 Tempests at most, and then hard switching into a ground army. Tectonic Destabilizers is on the way. That is going to be the structure upgrade, or the bonus against structure upgrade here for Classic. So we have a pretty big investment. At the same time, Oracle does get across the map. 3 workers are going to be going down. Not too bad. 3 drone kills. Lings, they do confirm the third base. Roaches are on the way because skipping Roaches killed Dark last time, so this time he's playing safer, making sure he has that Roach Warren just to survive and make sure he's safe. Then into the then into the Hydra Den. So Dark playing it out safely here, delays his Hydra Den a little bit as a result. And we'll see again if we go into that Twilight Council and Forge. Now what's important is that with this build, there's no +1 air attack. Usually that's the tell. In like seasons past, that's how you tell if a player is rushing into Skytoss, because they're usually working on their upgrades. But we don't. With how Classic does this, because he doesn't commit into Skytoss, he usually goes for a Ground Toss transition. The Cybercore isn't a tell. Here we go. 4 attempts are moving out. Ling does scout this, by the way. Hydras are in production. Queens are rotating over. Thankfully, Dark does have the Hydrogen. He has anti-air. He should be able to survive this. Meanwhile, we are going up to a 5th and 6th Tempest, and I still don't see a Twilight Council. We're committing. Tempests have arrived. We have to be very careful with how we maneuver here on creep. Void Razor on the way. We're going Sky Toss. Let's go. Queens are falling. Good target firing on one of those Tempests. Hydras have yet to be revealed. Looking at his vision, yeah, we have not seen the Hydrogen or the Hydras themselves. And Darky's getting ready for a surround. He's coming in from behind. He's trying to trap these Tempests. Really good movement here out of Dark. Yeah, and Classic has to get the hell out of here. And it looks like he will pivot away and he will barely make it out of range. Oh my god. Oh, he does lose one. One Tempest goes down. Bit of an overextension there from Classic. Once again, Dark trying to flank the army. There's that Force, there's that Twilight Council on the way. We do get a full surround. Oh. Oh, but there is an area, there is a space here where we can, of course, stack the Tempest. Oh my, this is disgusting. No way for the Hydras to attack. Behind this, charges on the way, Templar Archives. We're going into Ground Toss, we're going into Charge Ults and Archons. Oh, and the trades here have been insane. We're still taking a bit of hull damage, so Classic has to be very careful not to overextend. The micro here is very delicate. The Queen obviously has more range, but the Queen should be focused down. Oh. Ooh. As again, we are still on 7 Tempest. And Dark is going for a big counterattack. He has to. The Tempest. Oh my god, barely does survive. Back at home, what do we have? We have a wall of defense. Wow, only one shield battery, only one overcharge. Big overextension. The Stalkers. One Stalker goes down. Every unit counts. Every unit does count, but pushing into these Tempests is not going to work out. Meanwhile, Classic has not recalled. He's punishing that mineral line. But is he looking? He's not. We dive on the army. One Tempest goes down. We get a second Tempest as well. Dark finally catches some of these units. But this hatchery is so low. One more volley, and it goes down. And Classic, there's no reason to recall. You can just use the dead space here. Use the terrain. Dark still in 3 bases. Thankfully, he does have a hatchery here. He's taking a 4th towards the south. Here come more Tempests across the map. Behind this, we're getting into Carriers, Storm, Charged Archon. Ooh. God, and this is brutal here. It looks like we have found the sweet spot where this cannot be hit except by the Queen. The Queen getting damage done. Oh! Oh my god. A bit of miscontrol out of Classic. Again, it's a very delicate dance that he has to try to perform here. Queens are coming in from the other side. Meanwhile, this 4th base is going to be denied. Oh, the Queens are exposed. Can we get them? We got one. Meanwhile, that was a kill. That was a kill, not a cancel. And we do get into the main base as well. Dark is being forced all in. It's all or nothing for Dark. These 2 Tempests are still alive. We're wreaking havoc in the main. We're going to get a kill on the main Nexus. Then we can recall back home. Meanwhile, can we defend? Storm is done. And there's that recall. We snipe the main. And with Storms, there's nothing these Hydras can do. Massive Storms on the army. GG gets called. And Classic will take the series 2-0. GG. Oh my god. That was disgusting. The positioning of those Tempests in between the bases was brutal. Even though Dark rushed into Hydras, and even though we saw some really good movement out of Dark trying to get surrounds, Classic was able to recognize that in time, able to barely avoid the surrounds, avoid the flanks, and abuse the limited range of those Hydras. And have his way with Dark. GG, well played. And again, Dark, he delayed his Hydra production to throw down the Roach Warren because he was, again, because Adepts killed him last time, so he had to be safe. He wasn't quite able to confirm what was happening until the Tempest came out, and we had some anti-air, sure, but yeah, Classic, the execution there was brutal. Just taking advantage of the terrain of the map itself. GG, well played. Congratulations to Classic as he does 2-0 Dark and does advance on to the semifinals. GG. Oh my god. Este, classic. And this is a variation of Tempest Rush that I haven't seen him do before. Usually, you'll know this if you've been watching KSL or ESL Asia or any of our other, or GSL as well. Classic usually invests into Tempest. He doesn't get Tectonic Destabilizers. He doesn't invest in that upgrade. Gets a handful of Tempest, then transitions into Blink Stalkers, you know, and he tries to force an overreaction. But here, Classic mixed it up. He actually committed to Skytoss, made 6 Tempest, made up to 9 actually, because he lost 2. He had 7 at the end. Went up to 9 Tempest, then into Chargelot, Archon, and Storm instead. Of course, aware of the Hydras, and yeah, really nice adaptation here out of Classic, and did catch his opponent off guard. Did pull Dark apart. GG, congratulations. Ooh. And with that, we are going to be taking a bit of a look here at the bracket.